Hi, this is Abby, and this video is about Aquarius rising. So, the rising sign is the sign that was on the horizon when you were born. You have to know your time of birth in order to calculate it, which you can do so at any website that offers free natal charts, and I use astro.com. In childhood, the rising sign represents the family expected role you had growing up and how you learned to survive in the unit. So, in adulthood, it represents how you survive in all new situations. It's sort of a defense mechanism that you have, and you filter all of your other planets and luminaries through your rising sign. And therefore, it represents how you look physically as well. So Aquarius rising is very interesting because Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus, and it's very unexpected. You can't really pin down Aquarius because it's going to surprise you. That's its whole point. The point of the sign Aquarius is to break down the social structures that Capricorn has set up and followed to a T. So whereas Capricorn rises through the ranks, is great at like army and business and anything that has a very set structure, Aquarius just wants to blow it up. It wants to cause liberation, chaos, liberation through chaos. That's a great way to describe Aquarius. With that said, Aquarius is actually a fixed sign. It's an air sign, so it's very concerned with like intellectual things, and it is even the sign of genius. But it's fixed, so it has sort of like fixed ideas about things, and it's kind of hard to change the ideas of Aquarius until they kind of decide for themselves, I'm going to change this idea drastically. So they're interesting. So if you have an Aquarius rising in the family, you are probably a bit of a kind of like just a rebel. You may have been expected to be sort of that absent-minded scientist type, like really smart, but like just off on the fringe, like doing your own thing. Like maybe you were great at math and science and chemistry, but you just started doing experiments that had nothing to do with what was going on in class. And your parents probably encouraged that. Or you could have been rebellious from the beginning because you felt like your family was too structured and they needed you to cause chaos and break things up so people could not get stuck in a rut. It's hard to tell with Aquarius because that's the whole nature of the sign, is you just never know. But in general, I've found that Aquarius risings are they pride themselves on being individual, so they can look the look of Aquarius. Also, you can't really pin it down. A lot of females often look, because they have that like air sign look of like super blonde, gorgeous. Aquarius often are gorgeous, and Aquarius risings often have this thing with their teeth. I've noticed. I don't know why, because they don't roll the teeth, but they almost have like little fangs. They have a very interesting like tooth structure, and it happens all the time. It's sometimes just Aquarius suns, but often Aquarius risings have this sort of like thing where it looks almost like they're about to bite you, and you're like, okay. Just something I've observed, but yeah, Aquariuses, they can have that like tall, lean, blonde look, or if they're guys, they can have sort of a rotund look, like kind of big, kind of awkward, like walking around kind of awkwardly. Yeah, you just never know. But if you see someone with like bright pink hair, they probably have an Aquarius rising. Or like if they just have some crazy thing going on with their physicality and they just like, like it's not like they're showy about it like a Leo rising would be, like, look at me. Aquarius rising's like, do not look at me, but just know that I am different. I am unique and I am eccentric, and they love eccentricity. So they will just be the weirdos, they'll just be like that crazy weirdo in the group who maybe doesn't say much, but everybody loves an Aquarius rising because they're all about humanity. Like when they approach new situations, they're shy, they tend to be shy, but they're so giving to others. Like shirt off the back giving. Like, they care about the underdog. So whoever's like being picked on or whatever, they'll like take them under their wing, or they'll say something to break that up for the group. They're big on like social causes and stuff. So it's just they kind of like don't really think about themselves as much as they think about everyone else, but they love being part of a group, you know, a group of friends, whatever. And they love talking about intellectual things because they're usually really smart, or they have strange ideas that they've developed. So they like to talk about them, but again, they're a fixed sign, so they're not going to be like, oh, I see your point, you know, and oh yeah, that's a good point. They're more like going to be like, this is the way it is. Like, you're not opening your eyes. This is the way it is. And it can be frustrating for someone who's also got their own ideas, but that's Aquarius for you. And damn, they're geniuses, I tell you. In some way, shape, or form, Aquarius risings have some sort of genius about them. Like, maybe they play the piano like Mozart, and just nobody knows how they do it. Or they're just really good writers, or something, you know, just something odd about them that's amazing. Aquarius is air sign. It's ruled by the intellect, but they can get these flashes of intuition. And they're great at technology, and they love technology. I have an Aquarius niece who loves planes, and I knew someone with an Aquarius rising who actually flew planes, and he just loved planes because it gives them that bird's eye view of the world, which is exactly the way Aquarius feels, that they're looking at the world sort of separated, kind of above, not necessarily like above people, like put themselves above people, but they're just looking at things from like a faraway stance. So, I mean, planes would be the perfect thing for them. And they always love technology, like the latest. They always need to have it, cutting edge stuff, because Aquarius rules that kind of thing. And just like that, they can get these like lightning bolt ideas that are genius, and they can't even describe how they came to them, but they just know that they're right. You know, they just know them with conviction. So Aquarius